Nice. Welcome back in, everybody.
Was that on?
That was good. Go Talk
I
Radio with
jumped
Mike
right
and
in
Billy.
there with that. I
That
know.
See, this would be more pounding the ivories right
So
here.
this is pounding
This
ivories.
is not tickling.
Or tinkling.
No, this is pounding.
That's pounding ivory right there.
Yeah.
That's. So I didn't know you were such a keyboard enthusiast.
I actually would have liked the piano if my dad didn't force me to play it.
I know. Is that so true?
Isn't it amazing how
There's things that I would have liked too. I would like chess. Probably
How-
my dad tried to force me to learn how to play that.
us parents actually try to encourage kids, but we actually end up doing the opposite because we go, no, you need to do this. No, you need to do that. You need to do this. You know what? You don't need to tell them to do anything. Just guide them.
Guide them. Open doors. Let them walk through.
I want to do
You can
the
write
I want
that
to do
down
the
if you
drums. I
want.
wanted to do the guitar, and now
he does do both. Doesn't
well
your boy?
now he does. Now I'm doing those on my own.
Are you picking up the drums?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
bud.
Well, with the YouTube and everything, you can do it all.
I'll come up and jam with you.
I have a killer app on my phone
Okay.
for guitar. Dude, I got to show this to you. You're going to love this app.
So we're
That is
really going to
awesome.
talk about rules? I mean, that's.
Well, let's talk about
Why don't we wait till January and talk about the
well,
new rules?
we can do that too. But let's
Because
talk
we
about,
need Dave involved in this.
yeah, let's talk about the elements of playing and teaching golf as
and
voted on by amateur
Nikki
golfers.
needs to be involved. She's
Yeah.
the rule guru.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's can we save? Can we shelve the rules?
We can shelve it.
I would like to put an amendment on the rules here that we shelve the rules
We can shelve it.
until one of the first shows in January.
Yeah, we can do that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're in.
All right, we're in.
Pop, you okay with that?
Go, baby.
All right, we got it's unanimous.
It's like I want to hear more about your childhood.
No, and swimming. I was forced to take swimming lessons.
You were?
Yeah, and
That's why you're such a good swimmer.
That's why I sink to the
You
bottom.
swim all the time.
I could dive like a madman. I could do the flips and the twists and all the brawnies and stuff, but I dog paddle this.
And you got the little like
I know.
the blondie hair thing going
Yeah.
on right now because you swim all the time, man. You're in that
I
chlorine.
was tanned up.
Yeah,
That was I
yeah, dude. Put some butter on you.
hated swimming, man. It was you're swimming and you're gonna like it. I mean, come on.
That's not something you force on people.
Oh man, I went in there, blow bubbles, kick.
Come on, get in the pool. Hold your head down.
I was like one.
Bill,
All right.
keep your head down.
Longer. Here, let me help you. Then
But
you're-
Dad, I can't breathe. No, head down. Nose to
Are
the
you
nose to the
kidding?
floor of the pool.
I didn't breathe for 2 weeks 1 month. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
All right. Although it's funny, he played golf, but never forced me to, and that's probably why I loved it so much.
That's
I followed him around,
Perfect example.
carried his putter every once in a while, and caddied. But you're right. So we never, because I could beat him quickly, and I think he didn't want me to play anymore. So so you're a teacher. You teach a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
And there's this elements of playing and teaching as voted on by the students or the amateur players who take lessons, and they took all these different elements. And I'll give you to just go, I'll throw a few out there: tempo, mindset, alignment, posture, grip, expectations, spontaneous, the swing, short game. These are all different elements, and they voted on these 12 and what the scores were, and. What would your top be? Because we will save this list for the amateurs. What I try to deliver, what I try to guide my students to their top 3 or 4. What are yours? I can tell you what mine are.
Top 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Well, I believe number one that the setup items on here are so important. And what I'm talking about,
Are you
are
talking
like-
about alignment?
I'm talking about
posture?
the alignment and the posture.
Okay.
And even the grip. I mean, those would be the things as far as order.
So
I would
if
put
you would
those-
put number 1 is that?
I would put that in there first because one, if you don't understand those alignment elements and you don't understand the setup elements,
Well, what if you're teaching kids? Which would it be?
well, you're talking a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about adults, I
Okay.
guess. I guess I just took that as an assumption that it's
Okay,
adults.
well, so adults are right. All right. Go
And then right after that, to me, it comes into the understanding of tempo and then the understanding of timing. I think something that I'm really surprised about on this list because they rate it in percentages. So balance was number 1 as an important score on this list, 97%, along with swing and short game. The emotional aspect of a game, to me, would be also along with the mindset. And I think as adults go, this would round out as maybe my 5 or 6 on the list. As adults go, taking the shot that you just hit and then moving on to the next shot as an adult on the mindset and the emotion of it. Because I think we adults get into that mindset of we talked about a little bit about with playing with Owen and Jack. You see them swinging hard, so you get in the mindset of swing hard, swing hard, swing hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you keep swinging hard and you never change your mind, you can try all these other stuff, a lot of this other stuff, and to me, it's not going to matter. That's just my feeling on it. Like, if you're sitting there worrying about your short game, but you keep saying hit it harder, hit it harder, hit it harder, and you never change, isn't that partial emotion? Isn't that part of...
And mindset and emotion are both on this list, and they go very hand in hand. Some of these things go...
And they're further down the list.
They are, and on this list. So it's amazing what people are looking for. And my number one is down it's down to 84% of the people. I believe you need to have tempo and rhythm on every golf shot. So... the pace that you swing the golf club back and forth it's right to your putt, to your chips pitching, and your full swing. It's down there. So it's but I do have balance in my top 5. So my number 2 is timing, and my definition of timing is that you have to rotate at a certain time in the golf swing. So the tempo is the rate back and forth, and timing is turning at the right time. You rotate your hands and your hips or whatever. It's not so much that you do turn your hips; it's when you turn your hips. And timing. So and getting the club back to square. So I think timing has a lot to do with club face impact, and it doesn't say that on there, but getting the club square and impact has a lot to do with timing. 3 is short game for people. Because if you practice the short game enough, you will get all these other things. Right, putting and chipping and pitching is 2/3 of the shots played, and that I would have, and it's tied for first on their list. You notice that
short game though. Some of these things they have. Yeah, I noticed that.
It's some
of these things on this list are large areas. I mean, when you're talking about short game, you're talking about a lot of stuff.
There's a whole lot of stuff.
If you're talking about balance, that's one thing.
And balance is number 4. I should probably have that 3. And they have it number 1. That students come because they want to learn balance, and that's keeping centered throughout your swing, right? You want to keep centered and balanced.
Which is actually controlled by posture as well.
No question about it.
And so that's where I'm in agreement with you too. I mean, when we talk about tempo, I think tempo is the most important thing. When I think about adults, sometimes the way they align or sometimes the way their posture is directs their balance, directs their grip, and then affects the tempo.
Sure, if your posture's off, all these other things. So it is interesting. I would like to know the level of player, because if it's a brand new player, you're right. You got to teach them how to at least hold the club so it works, right? Or give them examples of how the club would work with the way they hold a golf club. But you need to have, target awareness, which is alignment, right? You need to know how to align and get your club face towards whatever you're aiming at impact. So those things are really important for beginners. But then as you get older or more advanced, then you have the, being creative and spontaneous and getting more into the golf course and mindset and emotions is huge. As a shot at hand, I don't know what the difference is being spontaneously and shot at hand, are pretty much the same thing, But those things you work with a more advanced student. But it's interesting that here's what their list was. Balance was 97.14%. Important score was balance, swing, and short game. That's what the students came to the teachers and wanted to know more of. Posture was 4th. Grip was 5th. Alignment it was tied with timing. Consistency, which is such a weird, you could be consistently bad. So I'm not sure.
That's true.
What consistent?
That's actually really true.
You could be really inconsistent, being consistent and being inconsistent. Ball location, I think they mean ball position. In stance, I think it just says 85% said ball location. Do you think that's where they located ball? So like course management,
it has to be,
or ball position.
It has to be ball position,
because for really good players, that's huge.
Yeah,
because that's a half inch off could make a huge difference where they strike it on the face.
So big time.
So ball position for the the really good player, let's call it 10 handicap or less, is very important. Mindset, can't do anything without it, right, Mike? You can't.
Yeah.
Ball flight, I'm sure. Were they talking about trajectory or turning the ball? Probably. Probably turning it, fixing a slice.
Yeah.
What's swing model mean? what type of swing they should use.
Yeah, I think that's going into where they talk about like stack and tilt. They talk about whether it's a flatter swing, whether they're emulating.
You're going to follow.
Here's a good one, like Bryson DeChambeau. So he stands so upright, and when you have, I've had several golfers, especially at the end of the year, where students where he was doing so well, they're emulating him.
They're trying, yeah.
And he is so upright that these guys who are trying to do this, one, they're way older than him, and two, they don't have the strength.
Well,
and so when
his clubs are long, he's upright because of his wedge is a 7-iron or 6-iron length.
Yeah, and he can't.
Right?
They can't. They try to get upright like that, and they can't turn. And so what's happening is they're trying to generate this power from just their arms.
And that's what DeChambeau does.
Yeah.
Right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
He does it through to release in arms.
Yeah.
That's where he gets all
and
his speed.
so the guys that I've seen are like, well, why is the ball not going in the air?
Old school swings would break him.
Yeah.
So that's what you
And
got
they
to swim
can't.
on.
And
They're
they
trying them all.
can't. Yeah. They can't. They know they're supposed to finish a certain way, but they can't physically do it
Well, then the other
because of what they're trying to emulate, and they're just going to end up hurting themselves.
because they're trying to. You can't emulate Chichi Rodriguez and Freddie Couples, the two swings together. You would break. So
Right.
I'm dating myself with Chichi Rodriguez there, but I was a Tom Watson when I was thinner and was young.
Yeah.
Watson was the guy, and I remember
He still is the
his
guy.
tempo and the way he approached and set up and stuff was I tried. That was my model golf swing in my brain.
I still remember a couple of years ago when you and I went up to Pebble and he was playing in the Nature Valley Open.
It was unreal.
I mean, watching him hit the drive on like 13 and 14,
he broke his age there. You know that?
it's incredible. He
was
doesn't look.
64 and he shot 63 or
He doesn't
something
swing
like
it like he's of his age.
Yeah.
He doesn't swing it. The other part of these, when you talk about on this list, which is interesting, because I understand when they put this list together, they had to make options, but you're talking about like alignment. You're talking about grip, posture. You could even say stance, which is kind of a thing.
What's the
posture,
old
but
PGA stuff?
but
Grip,
stance,
stance and posture.
like, there are a lot of guys, and I guess I'm just reflecting on people that I've had the opportunity to work with. There are a lot of people that I've had lately that set up with a really close stance. So if they're setting up with a really close stance with a driver, they can't. They're thinking that they can finish in a certain place, but they can't.
You can't get out of your own way.
And so that's where, like, I agree with you. Tempo is great, but I think that unless that person is like, okay, I'm closed stance because that's the only way I can stand. Period.
Yeah.
I'm broken. Then okay, that's cool. We'll work on tempo. But if the guy goes, well, how come my drive's going so low? How come I miss it to the right and block it? How come sometimes I hit a big old hook? And then you're sitting there going, well, it really has to do with your stance and your posture and the way you're aligning up. And they're like, but I don't want to change.
Then they're seeing the wrong person.
Well,
so good luck. Have fun with that. I mean,
then you just say, well, here are your options.
Yeah,
you
have to.
And,
well, my saying to that, and throughout history, because there's many great players that have had open stances. You said closed, but many.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
But no one in history has been closed.
Right.
Nobody. They're parallel to target line, or they're open to target line.
Right.
Because to get the club face back to target line, if you are closed, you can't generate speed. And you can't, so you can hit it with an arms. I don't know if DeChambeau's closed or not. I haven't watched it carefully enough.
I don't think
but
he
you
is.
can arm it that way, but you can't get your leverages and so. But a lot of these go hand in hand. So first thing I teach my advanced kids is club face impact position and getting. So no matter how you're setting up to the golf ball, how you grip it, is the club getting back to where you're trying to hit it?
I like that.
So I put, is it going where you're seeing? And then, there's many ways to do it as long as you can get it to, the result. And it's easy to explain that on a putting green, but if you put a noodle on a shaft out there about 10 yards to say, I want you to hit it, you hit it as hard as you want or as soft as you want, but you got to hit that noodle.
Right.
And as soon as you start missing that noodle, you got to figure out what's good, because that means the club face isn't in the right position or it's not swinging on the right line. So they have to fix their alignment and things to get that noodle to be hit.
Right.
So that's just awareness of club face, and that puts all these other things back in. I
Right.
mean, it throws all that stuff in. They have to adjust grips and alignments and stuff like that. But without tempo, you don't get the ball airborne.
Right.
I mean, you just don't.
It's interesting too on this list, and this is the elements
Oh,
of
good tempo.
elements of playing and teaching golf as voted on by amateur golfers. That's what we're talking about
What
here
is
in Golf Talk
delivery
Radio.
system?
Well, you said
Is that-
you explained it to me as how you get the
Impact.
club head back into impact position.
Okay, so
is what I thought.
So it could be drop into the slot. It could be they're trying to get the club to impact. Well, if that's the case, delivery system. How do you deliver the club back to the ball? It's huge. It's
Yeah.
really huge for a good for the player that is is a field player. One of these technical players these days, a field player needs to get that club back to the ball
Right.
where they want it. But I don't know if that's what they mean.
It's interesting that I think it probably. I mean, we're guessing, but I agree with you. I think that's probably what it means. The balance thing, being number one on this list at 97%, along with the swing and the short game. Some people, if they're emphasizing balance, they create such a wide stance. They'll remain in balance, but they can't turn, like what you're saying, and they can't really even find their tempo. Because they're so wide, because they put such an importance on balance.
They have a balanced start, but not a balanced finish or a balanced throughout.
They can't finish.
You need balance. You need centerness throughout.
Yeah.
So these need to be defined a little bit more.
This is a general. I mean, the swing. What does that mean?
What's improvisation? What's that word?
Improvisation.
And creativity. What's the difference?
That should be the same, I would think.
And on being spontaneous
Those are at the bottom of the list.
and being creative, so that you can tell what people think. I would put those up higher because I'm all a field player.
Yeah.
And people that are really more technical players might be having the delivery system or the,
But you could take some of
swing
these
model, ball location.
you could make these in
in groups.
on this list. Yeah, you can make headers. So like on the list, the swing could be a header. Consistency, actually, when you think about consistency on this list, is at 87%. It's about halfway down as far as importance. Consistency actually comes from a lot of the stuff that's listed above it,
I know, that's what I mean.
which is grip, alignment, posture,
good consistency.
balance,
Being consistent in all of those things. So if you think Dave was on the conversation, would he say ball speed or club head speed or spin rate? I mean, now that you have TrackMans and things
Right.
like that, is spin rate one of those top things in there? Because that's what the tour players are looking for, optimal, apexes and things like that. I'm not that type of, teacher, but I wonder if that's the new days, because I've been watching. I've been reading a lot of articles. I don't think teachers can teach, because I think only golf can be learned,
Yeah.
but we can guide to learning.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't teach. You can say anything you want. You're not going to teach anything until they own it.
Yeah, but on a tour player, you're going to tell them, you're just telling them those numbers, and they're just going to change the equipment, and the tour player is going to keep swinging the way they swing.
Yeah, and they're going to get the right equipment, the right ball,
Right.
and or ball position can make difference in that. If you
Right.
come in and you're coming in a little too steep or not, and so that angle of approach, maybe that's what they mean by that. Delivery system could be the angle of approach, right? Too steep, too flat. You think that's what that means?
I would think.
But it's so interesting now. They have a blend of the modern technology and they have the blend of old. I was all creativity, and I worked. I did a lot of visualization and ball flight. I visualized a flight. Is it going to go straight? Is it cutting?
Right.
I rarely could see a draw, but it was how my brain works. So I was more of that player, keeping my emotions, intact. That was always a big thing for me. Physical condition was not the biggest thing for me, but it sure is now. For the if you're not in physical shape now as a competitive player, you're done.
Exactly.
You're absolutely done. So back when I played, if we're playing for fun, it's not so important.
Here's one on the list that I didn't see that's really interesting. Again, these are the elements of playing and teaching golf as voted on by amateur golfers. Swing ideas.
Does that mean like stack and tilt? What does that mean? Does it mean? What does that mean? Swing ideas.
I'm wondering if it doesn't mean. I mean, how many people? I mean, I do
One plane, two plane.
Well, and I do this on my own. Like if I actually go out and hit balls, if I'm working on my setup, I go, oh, if I put a little bit of more weight on this on my front foot to start with, my swing changes.
So swing experimenting.
Yeah. Like I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I've hit a lot of shots that you wouldn't. I would punch a 7 before hitting a full wedge because I just felt it at the moment. You know what I mean? So they're both going, I'm going to try a 110-yard shot or whatever it is, but I'm going to hit a little
Right.
little punch 7 versus just because it's my brain telling me that and it's a different swing. How am I feeling at the moment? And
Like,
it's weird.
yeah.
That's like casting a lure to the side of a bank.
Well, what about a swing
right.
idea like for you? It'd be different for me. I'm going to swing to right field. I'm a right-handed golfer. You swing to left field. To me, that's a swing idea.
Yeah, or could be the other one here. That could be delivery system.
That too?
That could be swinging to left, or so. These need to be defined, but I think that is So are you coming in on what path are you coming in? So if you're you're going to fade it, are you going to draw the
Right.
ball? So so a lot of people think to shut the face to draw the ball. Most best draw the balls have open face
Right.
at address.
Here's another swing idea. Then a lot of people use this and they don't actually swing this length, but half swing, 3/4 swing.
So that could be that's a swing idea. You think? I think it is.
And a lot of the times when people do those things, guess what they're doing? They're swinging 3/4 or they're swinging full.
And for you have a shorter golf swing, but it keeps you on plane.
Yeah.
So you don't change. You're not leaving that. So that keeps you there, and you've got tons of power for that little short swing, relatively short swing. It's not a
Right.
short swing. It's just relatively short. But you hit it a mile for that.
Well, and what I, but it's
unbelievable.
so interesting too.
How far you hit it with a little move.
It's so interesting because that's one of those things I'm aware of, but I've realized because like you mentioned about physical condition, some of that is relatable to my flexibility or non-flexibility. So I really can't change that.
Right.
I've tried, and I'll have people comment on it, and then I just say to myself, hey, I know what I can do, and I do what I can do. And so I don't teach, like when I teach people, I don't teach people like, well, you need to swing it like Mike Brabenec. I mean, everybody's got their own swing.
I would teach people how to putt like you, but I know what you're saying. But Todd, for example, we had him 2 weeks ago. He is a physical conditioner type of TPI, physical speed core type of. He's a certified pro in that. But you notice these people, 60% only said that physical condition was important.
That's surprising to me.
Or if you're going to be a competitive golfer, you better bring that number way up.
Well, if you're gonna play twice a
If
week,
you're going to play, you're going to break. Like
You
I
can't-
play
yeah.
twice a month because of my poor condition of my body right now. But so it's interesting where this came from. I think does this article have more data on this?
I'll have to do more research on it.
Ball flight, for me, is the same as creativity. Now, it's because I do see low, high, slight cuts or not in my brain. I see it before. I kind of vision what I'm going to try to create via creativity. It's not always just stand up, hit it straight. I always see that kind of thing, but I've always been that way. And it's weird. The number I put in my hand depends on what I visualize, and it might be 2 irons off than someone else would hit at that time.
Huh.
And it's strange. And then, or sometimes I'll go hard 9 when maybe I should have hit 7 iron. It's weird. It just depends on how I feel with the
So
lie.
interesting. We're gonna take our last break. Got to thank a couple of our partners here. Obviously, Dave Schmanel of Slick Sticks, your key to better golf. Clubs, grips, repairs, adjusting loft and lies. Flight Scope. Call Dave, 805-598-9993, slicksticks.com. McPhee's Grill of Templeton, hometown cooking through and through. McPhee'sGrill.com, 805-434-3204. Don't forget they have their own butcher shop and Ian's famous barbecue sauce. Also, the beautiful Pass Rebels Golf Club, multi-million-dollar renovated 18-hole championship course located in the heart of wine country. 18 holes championship golf. PassRebelsGolfClub.com, 805-238-4722. You can also reach me up there for club fittings from Ping, TaylorMade, Cobra, and also Callaway. And with that, we'll be right back. It's Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy on the Golf Talk Radio Network. Stay with us.
Motor